Well, first of all, I want to say that we're in a country that has convinced black people that voting is the solution to their problems. Recently, the Supreme Court has rescinded that idea, and now they've changed the voting rights qualifications and requirements. So that's one problem y'all got. The other problem, the question was, where did mob violence come from? Mob violence came to America on the ships with the first European settlers, and then it morphed into the Ku Klux Klan, which was also bad for us, and later on it turned into the gangsters. And so we didn't make up the idea of mob mentality. We don't do mobs. That's really not true of us. What we are, and I try to get my people not to do it, is that we are reactionaries. And I keep telling them, stop reacting and do something for yourself so you're not dependent upon people who don't like you.
It's really interesting to me. Casey, Miss Ali went right to trauma. She really wasn't talking about mob mentality so much as the trauma that African Americans have suffered over generations.
And when the trauma isn't healed,
right.
one of the things that's important,
Go ahead, Casey.
one of the things that's really important is that when trauma isn't healed, there's a building up of that anger, that hurt, that rage. And when something happens like a verdict of somebody being acquitted, when it's clear the acquittal shouldn't have happened, that's when it explodes into the open. And there's a long, long history of people keeping things bottled up. So we've got to do more healing. I keep coming back. When are we going to learn? It's time to grow up, America, and heal these problems.
I want to give Casey a chance to respond to it, too. Go ahead, Casey.
All right. Mob violence can be expressive violence or instrumental violence. You're both absolutely correct. There's a lot to be angry about in the past and the history. And Miss Ali is correct. I mean, there's been a lot of oppression, and not just to black people. But the mob mentality makes doing the wrong thing okay. The real question is it to evoke change? Is it to raise consciousness? What's happened in the last 20 years is that we now really have a high-tech world of internet, of Twitter, of phones, and there are ways to express your outrage that are socially acceptable and exhibit logic instead of expressing raw emotion that goes nowhere, that's contraindicative of anything. So there are answers. The answer is not to throw bricks, but to go ahead and say, you have your First Amendment rights to say, what have we learned from this? And the healing can happen, but not through violence.
Thank you, guys. However, I got to say, I watch violence acted out through social media every day. People feel very entitled to do a lot of nasty stuff on social media. It might go the other way. It might incite stuff just as well as diffuse things. So we really don't know. It is a new world. Miss Ali, thank you for letting us have